Hello and welcome to this video about Kundalini and the danger of ego inflation. But first, may I introduce myself? My name is NIgel Springett. I'm a chartered psychologist specializing in Kundalini syndrome. I have the great pleasure to work alongside my wife, Tara Springett, who's a leading expert in that topic. So, ego inflation. This is one of the biggest dangers of in the Kundalini process, in that when the Kundalini awakens initially, typically there's a phase of high levels of bliss. And you might think that that is kind of just good. Isn't it wonderful to be experiencing such wonderful feelings? Well, it comes with certain dangers, and the biggest of which is ego inflation. That it kind of triggers some of the narcissistic impulses that were kind of lurking in your mind. It might give you a sense of pride. Look at me, how superior I am to ordinary practitioners. I'm having all these wonderful feelings. My Kundalini is awakened. I'm on the path to enlightenment, and so on. And when you start indulging in those kind of feelings, then there's a risk that you lose all compassion for other people who are in their suffering. And it gives you a kind of delusions of grandeur and a kind of arrogance. And you might even come to feel that you're sort of entitled to dominate other people, to tell them what to do, to tell them all your intuitions and kind of pull them along your way without really considering their condition and what they really need. So you become too, if you like, absorbed in your own wonderfulness and your own maybe paranormal experiences. And so this overconfidence can lead to actually a bigger crisis once your bliss ends, because although your mind expands into kind of upwards, you could say, into a blissful area, at some point your mind will expand into your lower areas. So all the unconscious and more difficult material in your mind will start to emerge. There's also a risk that you feel with all the bliss that you're kind of beyond ordinary needs. You don't need other people anymore. You might come to feel you don't even need food. You don't need to practice spiritually anymore because you're so advanced. And one example, actually, in the literature is of Gopi Krishna, who, with every influx of Kundalini energy, came to feel he didn't need to eat anymore. And that just ultimately added to his suffering. So this raises the question of, what can you do to protect yourself from ego inflation? What are the steps that you can take? Well, the first is to really understand this risk and don't sort of underplay it. If you do have a phase of high bliss, you're likely to have impulses that you could categorize as ego inflation. And the more you know about this and the more you prepare yourself, the more likely it is that you'll handle it in a good way. In the second step, it's a good idea to notice when you get rebound negative feelings following your meditation experiences. So in the meditation, you might have phases of bliss, but then when you enter your family life, it's back to the normal frictions and frustrations, and then you may have exaggerated negative emotions of anger and depression. And notice that is a sign that your ego is starting to get inflated. And in response to that, it's a really good idea to be ready to give up your bliss, so that you can deal with maybe your own issues or to deal with other people's issues. Because if you're floating around in a sort of feeling of wonderful bliss, you're unlikely to attend to other people's upsets, concerns in a properly empathic way. Another key step is to develop a kind of critical attitude to yourself and notice the games, if you like, that your ego plays with your thoughts and feelings. So for me, I came to notice how much my mind would try to massage my self-image to make myself seem like somebody who's very competent, very easygoing, and very well intended. And but it was all kind of ego illusions, if you like, following a blissful phases. So here, me and Tara, we develop a critical sense of ourselves and try to deal with that, handle that by noticing our impulses and making fun of them. So we have this kind of humor about our ego massaging effects, if you like. Another key step is to put more time into developing loving kindness. So this is the wish for other people to be happy. If you like, the wish for them to share in your positive feelings, so that you have a kind of generosity developing with your bliss rather than a kind of covetousness. And finally, I'd strongly recommend that you find yourself a teacher who is able and willing to check your ego, to give you feedback on when you're showing your errors. And this should be a person who themselves has experiences of bliss, so that they know what they're talking about and are a credible teacher for you in your position. Okay, well, I hope that's been useful to you. And if it has, I'd be very grateful if you could give me a thumbs up. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, bye for now.